Say hey, Yellow Jacket football fans. Welcome to In the Press Box with Calhoun's head football coach, Coach Clay Stevenson. Don't forget, this is being brought to you by the Calhoun Touchdown Club. And if you want to listen to this podcast, go to the Calhoun TD Club website, and you can listen to it as many times as you want. Coach Clay, the weather has cooled off. How you doing?
Sure, it was nice this morning. We had a little bit of chill in the air.
Did you wear a jacket?
I didn't wear a jacket, but we had coaches. Won't say any names, but they almost were a toboggan out there. They were cold, but it was a perfect morning for football. This whole week's been awesome.
Yeah, you've had 2 weeks to get ready. We had a bye week after that opening 28-3 victory over the Creekview Grizzlies. How has practice gone? Without giving details, the first week off and then the second week.
Yeah, the first week it's not really ideal to have an off week right after the first game.
But you've been through this before.
Yeah, we had to do it last year. Last year was after a loss. So this year, but it was actually good that we made so many mistakes that first game, as we talked about last time. We made big plays, but we didn't really play great for 4 quarters. So we had a laundry list of items we had to go back and work on, and it was nice being able to do those without having to game plan for an opponent. Most of the time you're trying to do a little bit of both.
Right.
So we were able to just focus on ourselves last week. Didn't really get what we wanted to out of it. If you look at it as a whole, we were trying to get some afternoon practices to get us out in the heat and get us used to it. But I guess Tuesday afternoon it stormed, so we ended up having a delay, and then it was cooler after it stormed. And Wednesday we were trying to get out there after school, and the wet bowl was too hot, so we couldn't do anything. And all the gyms were full with other sports, so we ended up not even getting to practice at all on Wednesday. We did a little walkthrough in the cafeteria, and watched some film. We did the best we could with what we had, but we were able to get some good work in Thursday and Friday, and then so far this week we've had really good practices leading up to for a game week practice.
Yeah, this is a Westminster week of practice, so getting ready for them. We played Westminster last year, was able to get a nice victory, and in our non-region schedule, they are a 4A school, a private school there on the north side of Atlanta, traditionally fundamentally sound.
Yeah, we've played them several times over the years, mostly in the playoffs. Last year was the first regular season game I think we played, but always just hard nose. I feel like they kind of clone the teams from year in, year out. With the occasional, every once in a while they'll have a dynamic athlete or lineman, but for the most part they're just hard nosed, good looking kids that work hard and are well coached.
Yes, they have a new coach, Coach Gary Romberg, I think retired after 33 years of coaching Westminster football. They hired the coach from New Orleans who has coached a lot of the Manning kids, won state championships down there at a private school that he was at. Now he's up here at Westminster. Did you see any big difference in watching last week's game as opposed to the previous 33 years?
Yeah, a little bit. They've changed. Obviously, have new coordinators on both sides of the ball, right. So that's a little bit different. And they had always been a little bit of a wing T background team with the previous staff, more of like shotgun wing, and they've kind of gotten away from that, and they're just more of a traditional, just spread type offense that everybody runs these days. So, but what hadn't changed in being able to see them 2 games, seeing them live in 1 game is how hard they play and how well they're coached, and so they're going to get after it. We know that, and they were down 7-0 at halftime against Pace, came back and made a few adjustments offensively, and ended up pulling away and winning that one by 10. So it'll be a good test.
Yeah, they had a couple turnovers after Pace had gotten down close to the goal line a couple times in the first half, which was probably the key to the game. If Pace had gotten up on them 14-0 or 21-0, it might have been a different outcome.
Yeah, it was. They just hung around, and Pace couldn't put them away. The first drive they drove down, it was probably a 15-play drive.
Wow.
And then Westminster goes 3 and out. So the whole first half, actually, I think Westminster had 7 plays before the 2-minute drive, which they had probably 45 seconds. So the total in the first half, Westminster ran 10 offensive plays.
Wow.
And we're only down 7-0. So, they came back, like I said, the second half, and were able to put some drives together and stop them the second half and won 17-7.
So like we said, bye week after the first week's victory against Creekview, a very good 28-3 victory. You probably picked some players of the game, and did we go over that?
We went over that last time. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember them, but we did mention those in the last one.
Yeah, we did. We mentioned that in the post-game interview. Guys are fairly healthy. I mean, it's early in the season, and of course, there's going to be some bumps and bruises. And I'm not asking for specific names or anything, but overall, the team's health is.
It was good. That was another good thing with last week. We got some guys some good rest and good rehab leading up to this week. This week we got all sorts of sicknesses going on, so we've had players, at the doctor a lot this week. So hopefully we can get all that past us early in the year, kind of like last year. We had a lot of different things going on. So kind of battling the sickness bug right now.
And right now, remember, folks, you don't know, we're doing this on Wednesday morning, so we've got a Wednesday practice and a Thursday practice coming up yet. And so hopefully everybody gets over the maladies and is healthy for the game. We had one of the things that you and your staff, I don't know if you struggle is not the right word, but think about is the early morning practices. You get so much done, and it's nice to have a clear mind where we're focusing on nothing but football when we do an early morning practice instead of after practice and all the hullabaloo that goes on in a day's routine for a teenage boy. So we had a couple leg cramps because our first game, it was hot and humid. And so condition has been a vital part of what you always do. Has that held up?
Because it's tough. Like I
Yes.
said earlier, last week we're going to try to push them a little bit in the heat. But the rules now, like I don't know how some people get outside on the afternoon as much as they do. But we're never able to hardly do it. We've tried it several times over the last few years, and the reason we went to morning practices is because we had several days or several weeks in a row, probably 2 or 3 years ago, of we couldn't get outside, or we were supposed to go full paths and had to go to shells, or we're supposed to go to shells and had to go to helmets, because there's different at different temperatures, wet bulb temperatures, you can do different levels of pad. So, and like I said, on Wednesday, you couldn't even get outside. We couldn't even do a walkthrough outside. So, had to shift to the morning just initially to make sure we got practice in. And now we see a lot more benefits of it. Most of the time on Friday night that I think we've recovered a little bit more. Friday that first game was pretty humid, pretty hot. We don't play in that too much, but it stayed pretty humid for most of the game. And also we had guys that until you're in the fire of a 4-quarter football game, you don't quite know what kind of shape you're supposed to be in. That game reminded me of the McCallie game we played in 2020, maybe the first game up there
Right.
at UTC.
Correct.
That we had guys that were really, really good players, but had never been in a 4-quarter varsity football game, and all of a sudden we're thrown in that, and we had some cramping issues. And after that, I think guys learned how to practice better, learn how to take care of their bodies better, and be ready for Friday night. So hopefully we can learn from that Creekview game and not have those issues moving forward.
One of the things you wanted to emphasize with the bye week and having 2 weeks to get ready for the next game is depth for your number 2s and 3s, and it seems to be paying off, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've had to shuffle some guys around. We've moved positions. We've had to move some gold group to black group to have that depth that we didn't feel like we had against Creekview. So in that area, I feel like we've come a long way in those 2 weeks.
Exactly. as we said, the guys are off to a good start. We've got a good core, of leaders. Not this season, but the previous season, we had to replace 17 or 18 starters. This year, we had a bunch of starters back, or people who had a lot of exposure, and of course, having played previously 15 games, that gave a lot of experience to a lot of guys that wouldn't have gotten it if we'd gone 6-4 and only played 1 or 2 rounds of the playoffs. So that's paying off now.
Yeah, it is. We're in that area. We're so far from where we need to be, of being a mature, deep run of the playoff type team, where we've got a lot of issues we got to keep working through as a team. X and O wise and on the field wise, we've got some good players, yes, but we got to come a long way to have a team that gels when it's time to gel. But that's what coaches are for, and that's why I love every team differently. Every team needs a little bit different recipe and a little bit different things from the coaches. So
yes,
feeling through all that these first few weeks of the season, when we start having adversity, that's what makes a team. That's why we're not quite there yet. We're actually a long ways away, but we're going to get there.
I was listening to a radio broadcast yesterday, Jimbo Fisher, the retired coach, and they asked him the thing that he missed most about coaching. He says, the thing I miss most is when you're working with a team and you're working with a couple guys maybe in particular, and they come off the field after doing something that you've been preaching them to do, and they come off the field and they're just grinning from ear to ear, and I got it, Coach. I understand now. And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's, one area of it, the off the field, the leadership, just seeing them grow as an individual, as a teammate, as a son. That's where every team, like I said, is just a little bit different. They need a little bit extra TLC in areas. So we're still working through that right now.
And this begins a nice 3-week grind with Westminster. Then we go to Cartersville. We had 2 away games here. It's going to seem like forever since we've been home, because it'll be from August 15th to September 12th. We're finally back home. And we've got a Cambridge team. So the rest of this region schedule looks – Creekview is a good ball team. Don't get me wrong, folks. But Westminster is going to be a nice test for us. Cartersville and Cambridge is going to be a really good test as we get ready. And fortunately, we'll have a week off after that team. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into this non-region schedule as what the fans' outlook. Oh yeah, let's go 4-0. We won our first game. Let's do that. You're probably more. Yes, you want the victories, but where's our growth? What are we doing? How we get better for the region? Because the region is going to be a little bit tougher this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously we want to win every game we play.
Yes.
But also we've got, short-term goals, long-term goals, and season goals. But we've got to take it one week at a time. It's easy to start looking forward and looking to this game or looking to region schedule and looking to the playoffs. But we got to make sure we've got, like I said at the beginning, a huge list of things that we have to work on as a team, that hopefully we're kind of knocking those off one by one, and still winning football games is ultimately the goal.
Yeah, team you, team me.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's the emphasis that you look at. Well, folks, it's going to be a really nice evening down at Westminster. So get in your cars, wear some black and gold, and then get on down there and enjoy the game. Any final comments from you, Coach?
No, I'm looking forward to a good crowd. Like I said, we've never played there. It is an awesome campus, like a small college-type campus with a grass field, but it's not going to be like anybody's grass field. It's going to be it's a very nice, well-kept grass field.
Yes,
so we don't get to play on that much. I love getting out there and smelling the grass and
Same
having
here.
a little mud on your shoes. So I'm looking forward to that part of it.
Yeah, same here. Folks, I will give you a bit of advice in talking to one of the athletic directors. She told me that bring a wagon because there is no reserved parking, and it's a long walk to the stadium.
Yeah.
So be prepared. You're going to enjoy, as Coach said, it's a beautiful campus. If you get there a little bit early, drive around campus and take a look at it. it is a wonderful structure. And once we get our athletic facility built, we're going to have the same situation here. It's just, it takes a little bit of time.
That's right.
All right, folks, we really appreciate you listening to the In the Press Box with Coach Clay. Don't forget, it's being brought to you by the Calhoun Touchdown Club. Go to the CalhounTDClub.com website. You can listen to the podcast anytime. Once again, Coach, good luck and good health to the team.
Appreciate it, Dave.
You've been listening to In the Press Box with head football coach Clay Stevenson.